Hi everyone, I'm Matt, and welcome to 10 Minute Story. What if I told you that humanity's journey to the moon didn't begin with NASA, or even with rocket science, but with a sketch of a flying machine in the 15th century, drawn by a man who never left the ground? Today, we'll explore how we went from dreaming of the sky to walking on the moon and beyond. From Leonardo da Vinci's notebooks to the roar of rocket engines, this is the story of how we conquered the skies and took our first steps into the stars. Let's start in Florence, Italy in the late 1400s. The Renaissance is in full bloom. And among painters, sculptors, and architects, one man stands out, not just for his art, but for his imagination. Leonardo da Vinci wasn't just sketching portraits, he was sketching wings, helicopters, parachutes, and even a mechanical bird. In his famous Codex on the Flight of Birds, Leonardo analyzed how birds flew, noting airflow, wing curvature, and muscle movement. He designed an ornithopter, a flying machine powered by flapping wings operated by a human pilot. He also imagined a helical air screw, essentially the concept of a helicopter, and perhaps most impressively, he sketched a parachute with a pyramidal shape, centuries before anyone actually jumped from a plane. Of course, none of his machines ever flew. The materials weren't strong or light enough, and human muscle simply couldn't generate the power needed. But Leonardo's ideas weren't failures, they were seeds. Concepts so ahead of their time that it would take hundreds of years for science and engineering to catch up. It wasn't until 1783, nearly 300 years after Leonardo, that humans finally took to the sky. The Montgolfier brothers in France launched the first hot air balloon, lifting a sheep, a duck, and a rooster into the air. Later that year, the first manned flight took place over Paris, watched by King Louis XVI and thousands of spectators. These balloons were large, majestic, and utterly uncontrollable. No steering, no engines, just drifting on the wind. By the 19th century, inventors began experimenting with gliders. Sir George Cayley, an English engineer, is often called the father of aviation. In the 1850s, he built a glider that actually carried a human pilot, a coachman who, legend has it, quit immediately after the flight. Then came Otto Lilienthal in Germany. In the 1890s, he made over 2,000 glider flights, carefully studying lift, drag, and stability. His work deeply influenced two bicycle makers across the Atlantic. 1903, Kitty Hawk, North Carolina. Orville and Wilbur Wright launched the first powered, controlled, and sustained flight in human history. The Wright Flyer stayed aloft for 12 seconds, but it was enough. The age of aviation had begun. What made their success possible? A lightweight engine, a 3-axis control system, pitch, roll, yaw, countless glider experiments, and inspiration from Lilienthal's research. Within a few years, planes were flying across cities. By 1914, the world saw the first commercial airline flight, a 23-minute hop across Tampa Bay, Florida. But then, the world went to war, and flight would never be the same. In World War I, airplanes transformed from experimental novelties to strategic weapons. They were used for reconnaissance, bombing, and even aerial dogfights. Technology advanced rapidly. Stronger engines, better aerodynamics, and synchronized machine guns. By World War II, aircraft became central to warfare. Think of the Spitfire in Britain, the Messerschmitt in Germany, and the B-29 Superfortress, which dropped atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. But most game-changing of all was the German invention of the V-2 rocket. Developed by Wernher von Braun, the V-2 could leave the atmosphere. It was the first man-made object to reach space. Ironically, a weapon of destruction laid the foundation for humanity's greatest journey. After World War II, the US and the Soviet Union competed not only for military supremacy, but for space dominance. In 1957, the Soviets shocked the world by launching Sputnik, the first satellite. In 1961, Yuri Gagarin became the first human in space. The Americans responded with Project Mercury, then Gemini, and finally, Apollo. In 1969, Neil Armstrong stepped onto the moon. That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind. That leap was powered by the Saturn V rocket, still the most powerful machine ever built. To this day, no country other than the US has landed humans on the moon. This wasn't just science, it was political, cultural, and symbolic. The moon landing became a moment of shared global wonder. By the way, if you're enjoying this story as much as I am telling it, make sure to follow this flight to the end. Subscribe to the channel and join the adventure every day. Now buckle in, we're heading beyond the moon. After the moon landings, focus shifted to sustainability and exploration. The Soviets launched Salyut and then Mir, the first modular space station. The Americans developed the Space Shuttle, the first reusable spacecraft. From 1981 to 2011, the shuttle program launched over 130 missions, deploying satellites, repairing the Hubble Space Telescope, and building the International Space Station, or ISS. The ISS became a symbol of international cooperation. Russia, the United States, Japan, Europe, and Canada, all working together in orbit, despite tensions on Earth. Meanwhile, deep space missions sent robotic explorers to Mars, Jupiter, and even beyond the solar system. Voyager 1, launched in 1977, is now over 23 billion kilometers from Earth, carrying a golden record of human civilization. In the early 2000s, space changed again, this time not through nations but through entrepreneurs. Elon Musk's SpaceX, founded in 2002, faced early failures, but by 2008, it launched the Falcon 1, the first privately funded rocket to reach orbit. In 2012, it sent a spacecraft to the ISS. In 2020, it launched NASA astronauts from US soil, the first time in nearly a decade. Other players emerged: Blue Origin, led by Jeff Bezos; Virgin Galactic, focusing on suborbital tourism; Rocket Lab, delivering small satellites to orbit. SpaceX's Starship, currently under development, is designed to carry more than 100 people to Mars. The age of private space travel, once science fiction, is now launch-ready. What's next? NASA's Artemis program plans to return humans to the moon and build a permanent base. Lunar Gateway, a space station orbiting the moon, is under construction. Mars missions are being tested, robotically for now, but crewed missions are in the pipeline. Space telescopes like James Webb are looking deeper into the universe than ever before. AI is helping plan and pilot spacecraft, simulate alien climates, and process billions of astronomical images. And we're even talking about terraforming, the long-term dream of making other worlds habitable. From the sketchbooks of a Renaissance artist, to gliders, jet engines, rockets, and interstellar probes, the conquest of the sky and space is not just a technical achievement. It's a story of dreams, disasters, breakthroughs, and relentless curiosity. We fly not because it's easy, but because we must explore. Because the sky was never the limit, it was just the beginning. If this video sparked something in you, check out our other episodes on invention, exploration, and the people who changed how we see the world. Every day, a new pill of curiosity. See you next time.